We've all gotten pretty used to AI that can chat with us, summarize articles, and even write code. But what if that was just the warm-up act? Today, we're diving into what's next, the real evolution, AI agents. These are AIs that don't just talk about doing things, they actually do them.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if an AI could move beyond just giving you information and actually start executing tasks based on it? Imagine an AI that doesn't just write up a 5-step plan for you, but actually carries out all 5 steps. Well, that's the world of AI agents.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll go beyond chatbots to really define what an agent is. Then we'll compare how they reason versus a standard LLM. We'll peek under the hood at how an agent thinks, do a deep dive into a really cool framework called React, and then wrap up by looking at what this means in the real world. Sound good? Let's get into it.
All right, first up, let's officially move past the world of chatbots. We are now entering the era of agents, and this is a huge shift because we're moving from a model of just retrieving information to one of actually executing tasks. So, what exactly is an AI agent? Well, at its heart, it's an autonomous system. And yes, it's powered by a large language model like the ones we already know. But, and this is the important part, it's designed to be proactive, to be adaptable, and above all, to be action-oriented. It's built to make its own decisions and get things done in complex workflows.
I love this analogy because it just makes everything click. If a large language model is the brain, fantastic at thinking and processing information, then an AI agent is that same brain, but now it has hands to take action and a memory to learn from what it's done. It's the massive difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it.
Okay, so for an agent to actually function out in the wild, it really needs 3 key things. First, it's got tools. These are the APIs, the software, the things it can actually use. Next, it has rules. This is the business logic, the guardrails, the constraints it has to follow. And finally, it has pools, all the different data sources it can tap into to make smart decisions. Tools, rules, and pools. That's the secret sauce.
So, how does being built for action fundamentally change how the AI thinks? Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's compare the reasoning of a standard LLM with that of an agent. This distinction is absolutely crucial.
At a high level, an LLM kinda reasons by just predicting the next most likely word. It's brilliant pattern matching, perfect for a single task like writing a summary. But an agent, that's a whole different game. It engages in explicit decision-making. It's not just predicting text, it's navigating an entire workflow, and it has to remember what it did in step 1 to do step 2 correctly. Let's break that down a bit more. When it comes to decision-making, LLMs are implicit. They just follow the pattern. Agents are explicit. They follow actual rules. And memory? This one's huge. An LLM's context is temporary. You start a new chat, it forgets everything. An agent has persistent memory, tracking what it's done before. And that leads to their orientation. LLMs are task-oriented. Summarize this. Agents are action-oriented. Book me a flight, which involves a whole sequence of actions.
Okay, so how does an agent actually pull off this more advanced way of thinking? Let's pop the hood and take a look inside its reasoning toolkit to see what techniques it's working with. So agents have this whole toolbox of methods. You've got your simple conditional logic. The basic, if this happens, then do that. You've got heuristics, which are kind of like mental shortcuts or rules of thumb. There's self-reflection, where it can actually learn from its mistakes. You can even have multi-agent systems where agents work together. But the one we're really going to zoom in on, because it's so powerful, is a framework called React.
And that brings us right to our deep dive. We're going to focus on the React framework because it just perfectly shows how an agent can intelligently stitch together its reasoning process with its ability to take action.
So React, it literally stands for reasoning and acting. The name really says it all. It's a framework that lets an agent think through a task, map out a plan, and then go and execute that plan. But here's the magic trick. It's built to adapt on the fly whenever it hits a roadblock or finds new information.
So here's the play-by-play. It all starts with understand, what's the job? Then it moves to diagnose, what tools, rules, and data do I need? Now from here, there's a fork in the road. If it's a familiar task, it takes the direct path to resolve and just gets it done. But if it's something new, it enters the adapt loop. This is where it reflects, maybe changes the rules, or finds a new tool before it moves on to resolve the task.
Okay, I know that might sound a little abstract, so let's make it super concrete. We're going to walk through a really simple use case, asking an AI agent to install some software.
All right, scenario 1.
We ask the agent to install software A, something it's installed 100 times. It understands the request. In the diagnose phase, it sees everything's good to go, and it knows which tool to use. Since this is old hat, it completely bypasses the adapt step, goes straight to resolve, and boom, installation complete. Simple, fast, efficient.
But now, let's throw it a curveball. We ask it to install brand new software B, something it has never seen before. It understands the request, but in the diagnosis phase, it flags this as an unknown. And that triggers the unknown path. It enters the adapt stage. Here, it might realize it needs a new API, or it has to adjust a security rule. It reflects on what's needed, makes the change, and then it can proceed to resolve the task. That adaptability is the whole point.
So let's pull back and look at the big picture again. What does this all mean? What's the real-world impact of having AI that's autonomous and action-oriented?
Well, the advantages are pretty massive. First, you get autonomous decision-making, which means agents can handle complex stuff without a human holding their hand the whole time. Second, you get self-learning and adaptation, so they get smarter and better at handling curveballs over time. And finally, this is the bottom line. You get true task execution. We're moving beyond just generating text to actually getting things done.
You know, there's a quote from our source material that just nails it perfectly. The point of the AI agent is really that it is action-oriented. It's actually able to get stuff done. The whole goal isn't just to produce words, it's to use those words to trigger a real action in the world. So if you remember one single thing from all this, let it be this simple phrase: agents for action. That's the core concept right there.
As this technology keeps getting better, it's going to open up some absolutely incredible possibilities. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. Think about all the complex, annoying, multi-step tasks in your own work or life. What's the very first one you would hand over to an AI agent? It's fun to think about. Thanks for watching.